There was a time when Mascot platformers defined a generation of gaming. Crash Bandicoot, Ratchet Clank, Spyro the Dragon, Jak and Daxter, and Mario and Luigi all became household names for gamers around the world and lived as mascots for consoles and companies. And thus, the Mascot platformer was born. But as we see time and time again, golden ages of different genres only last so long. Eventually, generic, uninspired Mascot platformers flooded the marketplace to ride the wave of popularity, and gamers quickly became dissatisfied with the genre as a whole. While Super Lucky's Tale hops in years late to the party, it's a perfect example of why the Mascot platformer died so many years ago. Horrible controls and mechanics, a shallow and humorless world and characters, and no purpose to keep playing highlight all the problems that brought this game's genre to its doom. I can't fathom why, when this game was being designed, the developers decided to limit camera movement. At any time, you could move the camera left or right a tiny bit into locked, predetermined positions, and then they would stop. Want to look behind you at where you've already been? Missed a collectible? You have to literally run back to before where you want to look so you can see it. If I missed something, I wouldn't even go back because I didn't want to deal with running around everywhere just to see certain parts of a tiny level. Want to know where something is in the hub world? Run around the entire map so you can even see the area you're looking for. One of the most important facets of a 3D platformer is its camera, and this one is absolutely abysmal. Then there are the controls. Playing as Lucky feels like everything you could do wrong in a platformer. Reaction time is slow, he moves like he's sliding on ice, and his jumps are floaty and hard to control. This led me to landing a jump on platforms and sliding off, timing jumps incorrectly because of how floaty he is, and messing up on easy sections because of too loose controls. Platformers live and die by those controls, and Super Lucky's Tale feels absolutely terrible to play. With games like Celeste and Super Mario Odyssey out nowadays, there's no excuse for a game to feel like this. If I wasn't reviewing this game, I would have quit a couple levels in when I realized how soulless the game is. The fact that he could burrow underground was kind of cool and added a little variety to the rest of the drudge, but it wasn't enough to actually make playing any real fun. The one thing I liked about the gameplay was its perspective changes. On a 2D level, for instance, you may be going along, jumping into a foxhole, and then be moved to playing on the background of the level. While this is a cool touch, you were only in that changed perspective for a very short puzzle and then brought back to the forefront. I feel this mechanic could have had a lot more potential had any sort of risk been taken in the gameplay. Super Lucky's Tale introduces you to its story and basically the entire plot of the game in only a couple minutes. The kitty litter has attempted to steal the Book of Ages, a book with many worlds inside and that can rewrite history. Lucky the Fox, who's your character, along with the kitty litter, are sucked into the book. The litter consists of 4 bosses including Jinx, the father of the litter, and that's about it. The whole game is about you beating them and saving the Book of Ages. Super Lucky's Tale attempts to make puns and jokes based off the characters and worlds, with the world called Spookington having ghosts making boo jokes, and Veggie Village housing farmer worms. The problem is all of the character and personality of this game feels entirely uninspired. I only smiled once or twice and never laughed once as all the humor fell flat. Ratchet Clank is my favorite Mascot platformer series, and those games are genuinely hilarious and charming. Captain Quirk is not only humorous, but has a great story arc, Clank is dry, sarcastic, and rude, and Ratchet has the whole cool guy thing going on and sprinkles in his own laughs here and there. The world, enemies, and characters are intriguing and full of personality, and even the guns serve as their own characters in each game. Super Lucky's Tale is full of incredibly short levels full of boring and frustrating puzzles, empty and shallow characters, and tons of repetition. Lucky is an entirely flat character, each enemy is basically pointless besides serving as a boss fight, and there's no real motivation to keep playing outside of just finishing the game. Oh, and the game can be finished in around 4 hours, unless you want to go for all the achievements. Then you'll spend an extra 6 or more hours grinding for coins in an incredibly boring and repetitive fashion to get that 1000 gamer score. Seriously, who thought these achievements were a good idea? When you find yourself halfway through a game and all you can think is to ask yourself why you're playing it, there's a big problem. Even worse, I could never decide who this game was really for. While of course it's for younger audiences, some of the levels were fairly difficult due to terrible controls, and some of the puzzles required some thought and good timing. I feel like younger me would have hated this game for a multitude of reasons, and even though some jokes were obviously aimed at more mature audiences, I feel like no young adult would want to play this either. To make matters worse, there's no motivation to play the game at all. As stated previously, the enemies are hollow and provide no real drive to beat them, the levels are boring and uninspired, and even getting the collectibles yields no real reward. Other than to say you beat the game, I can't find a single reason you would keep playing. Super Lucky's Tale is a perfect case study into why Mascot platformers died. A terrible camera and horrific controls, uninspired characters and world design, short repetitive worlds and puzzles, and no real motivation to play all highlight how to make a bad platformer. While it seemed aimed at younger audiences, there's literally not a single reason to pick this up for a child instead of something like Super Mario Odyssey or even the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy, which is coming to Xbox soon. If you have Xbox Game Pass, you or a child can play the game for free while it's on there, but even then, there are so many better games that are part of Game Pass to play. There's a significant amount of more lovingly crafted and much more fun to play platformers out there. Luckily, with the resurgence of Crash and games like Super Mario Odyssey, Mascot platformers may finally be rising from the ashes. I only hope that this time, the likes of Super Lucky's Tale don't ruin it for the rest of us. I hope this review helped you to know what's best for you, and if you want to see more of these videos and a ton of other content, please hit the subscribe button and touch the bell so you can see whenever I make a new video, and don't forget to give that like button some love. Thank you all so much for watching, and let's continue creating the greatest community in the world.